Hi there, it's Jack here from Big Burn Supper TV. This is day number 3 of our festival, and so far I popped my cherry last night by interviewing public service broadcasting, and I'm coming back round to interview probably one of the biggest names that Dumfries has seen in a long, long time. And that's what our festival is all about. It's about putting big names in small places, and this year we're really proud and happy to have Bill Bailey here in Dumfries, which is brilliant.
Hello.
Hello. So I've got a couple of questions for you, Bill.
Okay.
Some of my pals have also typed in a few questions as well.
All right.
So we'll kick off with number 1, which is that you've been to Scotland quite a few times, and I just sort of wanted to know what you like about Scotland. I think you met your wife in Scotland.
I did.
You did?
Yeah. Yes, she sort of grew up in Scotland, in Aberdeen, and then she went to college in Edinburgh, which is where I met her. And I was doing a gig in a bar many years ago now, and we met and we sort of communicated via letter. It was very romantic.
The old-fashioned.
It was very old-fashioned,
school, yeah.
very old school, and so it was a long courtship. But in the course of that, I spent many times coming up to Scotland and meeting the family and going up to Aberdeen, and so I sort of feel a strong bond and affinity with Scotland, because so many sort of those sort of quite significant moments of my life were spent or occurred here in Scotland.
I like the idea of the old romantic letters. It's very Robert Burns, which is quite fitting.
Exactly.
For us here, and that would have been your first gig as well.
It was one of my first gigs. Yeah, it was when I was doing a double act many years ago with another fella. We were called the Rubber Bishops, and we played all kinds of venues all up and down the country, and it was really sort of like it felt like this was, the best of times in many ways, because we didn't really know what we were doing. And but it felt like we'd found something to do that was outside of the norm, outside of the mainstream. We could somehow make money at this. We could do anything, And it was really sort of quite exciting. And we played all around Britain, and it took us to a little bit across to Europe. But it was a great excitement.
And was it like street performances, or was it comedy that you were doing as well? Or?
Mainly comedy, yeah. And it was around about the time that there was a sort of burgeoning comedy circuit in around the country. Not just in London where I was living at the time, but around the student circuit, around colleges.
Oh, right,
and there was a sort of quite a big scene started to grow up. And so anyway, we sort of plugged into that and carried on from there.
Well, I'm 22. I suppose one of my questions was, what was a young Bailey like at 22 years old?
22.
Was it much the same as comedy, or were you finding your feet with music, or?
Well, I can tell you actually. I was thinking about this just very recently, because around about that time, I was doing a lot of travelling, and I got a job working with a theatre company that travelled around Europe and then Japan. Right. So I sort of found myself doing the kind of sort of exactly what I wanted to do, which was to perform and to travel. And so, but round about that time, just before I joined the company, me and a friend of mine set up a comedy club in Bath, where I grew up. Yeah. And it was again quite a ramshackle thing. We sort of made it up as we went along. But there was something about it, like those first few gigs. I remember there was a kind of a buzz, a tremendous connection with an audience that once it gets in you, it's very difficult to sort of let go. You're hooked.
Yeah. We have that with one of our shows, La Haggis, which you have to come see.
I heard it. Actually.
I
saw a bit of it from backstage, but it looked great.
What's your plan now? Are you going away after this straight away, or can you stick around?
I'm sticking around, just for a little while. Yeah.
You should stick around, and you should come see the show. It's just an authentic mental Burns night experience with cabaret artists, comedy, music.
Great.
I will put you down for a ticket.
Okay.
A couple more. You are here at Big Burn Supper, which is a Burns Night festival. Do you celebrate Burns? Do you celebrate Burns Night?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah. I mean, because my wife, grew up in Scotland, and she has a lot of friends still in Scotland. Very often they either come down to us, or we go out and we celebrate it. But I think in all the years we've been together, which is quite a long time now, we've always had haggis.
Always had haggis.
Of some kind or another. Yeah. Sometimes veggie. We went veggie for a while.
Let me tell you, the veggie haggis, it blows me away. I think it's almost just as good as the real stuff.
You know, if not, I mean, controversially, if not better. I mean, I'm just going to throw that out there.
You heard it here first, folks.
I'm just saying.
And finally, just before we finish, and I take you into La Haggis, that was a sold-out show tonight.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since we've had a show like that in Dumfries, especially in our Spiegeltent.
Yeah.
What would you like to say to the people of Dumfries and Galloway when they wake up, they watch this video?
Well, I wanted to say that if you were at the gig, well done. What a great crowd. Fantastic crowd. If you weren't, why not? Yeah. Where were you? Come on. For goodness sake. They put all the effort in. There's a flipping car park with all this going on.
And it was sold out. Oh yeah,
that's fine. Anyway, no, I'd say I'm very envious of you to live in such a beautiful part of the world and part of Scotland. It's I was at Calaverock Reserve today, and one of my favourites of all of the bird reserves around Britain, and I just reminded me of it's a stunning wilderness that you have on your doorstep, but I'm very envious of that.
Well, that's it. Oh, last one. Emily Churm asked you a question. She wanted to know what your favourite metal band was, and if you're into folk metal, especially a band called Corpus Clanny.
Well,
no, Corpus. Have we got that right? Yep, Corpus Clanny.
Corpus Clanny. No.
Okay, you should check them out.
I'll check them out. I do. Actually, now you talk about my favourite metal band is Mastodon. Because I just, they are exactly the kind of band I'd want to be in if I was in a metal band, which is, very widdly, very concept.
Okay.
And no amount of, it's musicianship, ambitious musical structure. It's absolutely the epitome of everything I love about metal, and plus the fact they did a concept album based on Moby Dick, which is one of my favourite books, Leviathan. So I mean, what's not to love about that? But metal, I on the last tour, I did a tour of Norway and the Scandinavian countries, and we were in Iceland. And there's a band there called Skalmold, and they do a kind of Viking metal, which is it's fantastic. All their videos feature sort of eagles and glaciers. You got to check them out.
Ravens and axes.
Yeah.
Nice one. Well, that is this has been absolutely class. Highlight of my year so far for 2018. Thank you.
High five.
Nice one. I just high-fived Bill Bailey. Class again. So for the rest of the week, tune into Big Burn Supper TV. Support your local music scene.
Yes.
Support your local festivals, and come check out the Spiegeltent. And Bill, thank you very much for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Nice one. Cheers.
It was fantastic.
Spot on.
Keep rocking.
Yeah.